Hi everyone. I thought it was about time I introduced myself. I put a video of me talking on mine and my guide dog's channel. I'm Jo. I'm registered blind. I think I've been registered blind for roughly about 13 years now, give or take. It's been a slow process, really, so it's one of those things that I knew was going to come eventually, but not when, if that makes sense. It all started when I was 9 months old. I started with a swollen thumb, so my mum took me to the GP, who insisted it was because I sucked my thumb, and of course your mum knows you best, and my mum said, sorry, no, she's never sucked a thumb. So as I started to deteriorate and other joints became swollen, i.e. my right knee, right wrist, my mum she kept pushing and pushing and pushing. I was eventually referred to a paediatrician who did various tests, blood tests, and it took until I was 21 months old for it to be diagnosed as juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. And the treatment then wasn't that great. It's treated completely different than it is now. I was told to take aspirin, which you don't give children aspirin now. But back then that was all there was. Whereas now there's that many different medications. It's unbelievable. Thank goodness, because the earlier you can get the disease, the quicker you can get it under control, the less damage there it can do. Because left uncontrolled, and it just attacks everything. Anyway, with rheumatoid, juvenile rheumatoid arthritis or rheumatoid, you can also develop an eye condition, which is called uveitis. That basically is inflammation behind the eyes. So again, it's your immune system, which is what rheumatoid is. It's an autoimmune disease. So that means that even though there's no infection there, it's detecting a virus of some sort. So instead of attacking a virus, it attacks your own body. So anyway, they referred me to an ophthalmologist. Said that it was very rare. There's not many, just because you've got rheumatoid doesn't mean you're going to get uveitis. But it's just as well to check and to keep a check on things. So I went to see the ophthalmologist and there was no trace there. And I don't remember it, but apparently I screamed the place down when I saw the machine that you had to look behind the eyes with. I really didn't like it. So they said that they would see me in another month's time. So I went back a month later. My mum took me back and there was inflammation there. So they then diagnosed me with uveitis. So, like rheumatoid, uveitis attacks behind the eyes. Rheumatoid attacks the joints. So, of course, with every attack you get and every flare you get, causes damage to different parts of the eye. So I had to have numerous operations through the years. Cataracts. I developed glaucoma. And then obviously it's now caused damage to the macula and the cornea. So yeah, it's been a long time coming, but I knew that eventually it was possible that it was going to happen. So when I was younger, going back to the younger years, I had intensive physio every day. And then do my physio also. I'd have it before I went to school, and I'd have it when I got back from school, and I also had it at school because I went to a special school where I could have intensive physio and hydrotherapy as well. And I did massively benefit for that. It's kept me on my feet longer, I think, than if I hadn't had it. So, you know, it had its quiet spells, and then it had its flares, so I could go months without a flare. I'd still have days where I'd get severe fatigue and days where I could do less than I wanted. You know, it did take quite a bit of my childhood away. I lost 3 months of schooling at one point because I had a flare that they just could not control. So yeah, I did lose schooling. But you know, I've not known any other. I've lived with it all my life. I'm not going to say how long because that'll make me feel really old. But yeah, I've lived with it for a long time now. But just when I thought it couldn't throw anything else at me, when I was at college, that day I'd gone for a routine appointment at the rheumatologist, and I didn't think anything about it. I'd have routine bloods done, and then 5 o'clock later on that day I got a phone call saying that I needed to get to hospital straight away. There was something wrong with the platelet levels. The platelets are part of your blood that help clotting. They clot, so if you cut yourself, if you fall, bang your head, whatever, that bruise you get, that's your blood's clotting basically, your blood should clot. And I think, if I remember right, it's anything over 145, which is a safe level, and mine was 9. So I had to get straight to the hospital. They did a lumbar puncture because they didn't know what was causing it, so they tested me for leukemia. Did my bloods again. Thankfully, they could rule leukemia out. You know, I thank God that it wasn't that. So by the time they'd done a blood test again, it had dropped to 6. So they couldn't find what it was, so they admitted me. Had to go on a high dose of steroids to try and encourage the platelet levels to increase. And so one of the symptoms was bruising, basically. I'd had a massive bruise on the top right thigh, I think it was. It was huge. It was bigger than a hand. It was massive. But I didn't think anything of it because I'd always bruised really easily, so I didn't think anything of it. I just carried on. But apparently they told me that that was one of the signs, because by the time they admitted me, I was covered from bruises from head to toe. I got on my face, on my back, legs, arms. I was covered. And they do say that the only thing that saved me from hemorrhaging was the fact that I've got larger platelets than normal. So they must be the size of dinner plates. So yeah, it's a bit of an odd one, trust me. But yeah, thankfully they were larger than normal, else I don't think I'd be here now. So thank God. So yeah, so that was through the years, that was up and down. They finally put it down to the rheumatoid. Again, my immune system was attacking my platelets. So I was making the platelets, but as I was making them, I was also killing them off. So my immune system's really not got the, it's not got the hang of it at all. So yeah, I went years without my platelets becoming unstable, and then all of a sudden, wham, they started to drop again. So they gave me infusions, and then decided to put me on azathioprine. which is a immunosuppressant drug. So that suppresses your immune system to stop you killing your own body off, basically. Don't know why I'm laughing, but yeah. So that also works for the rheumatoid as well. But then with that comes the, you get the side effects. When I first went on it, I was nauseous all the time. It makes me tired now. I could just fall asleep sometimes. But then, the negatives, the positives just far outweigh the negatives. I've got to be on the drug and that's it. So, and touch wood, for a good, 8 years now, my platelets have been stable. So thanks to the medication, I think it's keeping it at a level, So going back to the sight loss, it's roughly 4 years nearly. I got my first guide dog, Venus. I was extremely lucky. I was only on a list for a guide dog for 7 months, which was a pleasant shock. I was told that I could be waiting a year or more because I'm not very tall. I'm only very little and I would only need a small guide dog. But thankfully the right one came along for me. And she's absolutely amazing. And she came along at the right time because that was when the sight in my right eye started to deteriorate even more. So the timing couldn't have been more perfect. She's now 6, and we're inseparable. We go everywhere together. She's basically an extension of me. When you get a guide dog, you're with each other all the time. They know how you're feeling, and you know how they're feeling. They actually sense it. If you're having a bad day, they know you're having a bad day. They sense it. But I couldn't be without her. She's fast asleep at the moment. So anyway, I hope I've not rambled on too much and crammed too much in one go. I just wanted to give you a brief outline of my illness. I could go on forever, but you wouldn't want to hear it. So hope you're all well. Sorry if this was a little bit not brilliant, because this is the first time I've spoken on a video and put it on YouTube anyway without talking to Venus. So hopefully if I post more they will get better. Have a good day. Take care. Bye.